The Good Dinosaur, a story by Disney presented by Pixar. Arlo's birthday adventure. This story features our good dinosaur Arlo, of course, his twin brother Buck and Libby, their sister, who was also born on the same day. So Arlo, Buck and Libby are triplets. The story begins as Papa Dinosaur proposes that he takes the triplets out on a really special adventure on the next day, which also happened to be their 7th birthday. Now the word adventure made Arlo gulp a little. That sounded scary. Surely his parents wouldn't plan anything too scary, would they? He thought to himself. Momma smiled. We're going for a picnic by my favorite waterfall. It's where Papa and I met, you know. But again, Papa added, seeing the waterfall is only part of the fun. First, we have to get there. And boy, climbing to a waterfall can be quite an adventure. However, the next morning they all set off bright and early. Momma and Papa with the two still very sleepy Buck and Libby. And of course Arlo, who could barely catch any sleep, worrying about all the things that could go wrong in a hike. Right before the journey, Arlo looked at Momma. She was carrying a basket of his favorite berries. This finally made Arlo smile a little. He thought to himself, maybe the hike wouldn't be so bad after all. It wasn't long before Arlo's belly started to grumble. Momma, I'm hungry. Can I have some berries? But Mama shook her head. The berries are for your birthday picnic, Arlo. Come along. There'll be plenty to eat when we get to the waterfall. Arlo sighed and kept walking. Suddenly, Arlo had to stop in his tracks. He'd been so busy thinking about eating that he hadn't noticed when everything around him got darker. Without realizing it, he'd followed Momma right into a dark forest. Up ahead, Momma, Papa, Buck and Libby happily continued on their way. They hadn't even noticed that Arlo wasn't with them anymore. Arlo's eyes started back and forth. Strange shadows lurked in the trees, and sharp branches poked him as he ran. Mama? Mama, wait up! Mama turned around and slowed down, letting Arlo catch up to her. Arlo ran as fast as his little legs would take him. He didn't want to be caught out in the woods without his family. By the time Arlo caught up with the rest of his family, they were climbing a very muddy hill. Arlo looked ahead at his siblings already in the mud. Mama, he called, can I have some berries now? But Mama shook her head again. Not until we get to the waterfall, she said. Come on, Arlo, we're almost there. But be careful, the mud is slippery. Arlo started to climb. He hadn't taken more than 3 steps when something slid past him. It was Buck. Yahoo! Buck shouted, sliding through the mud on his back. This is awesome! At the top of the hill, Arlo could see Libby running around the trees and jumping out at Momma and Papa. "Boo!" she shouted, making Papa laugh. Slowly but steadily, Arlo continued up the muddy hill. "Come on, Slowpoke," Buck called, running past him. "Last one to the waterfall doesn't get any berries." Arlo put his head down and continued climbing. "It's my birthday. I can do anything today. And surely I'm not letting Buck eat my birthday berries." Finally, Arlo reached the top of the hill. But there he found his family staring at a giant fallen tree. "What's wrong?" he asked. Momma pointed at the tree. "This is the path we usually take to the waterfall, but it's blocked. We'll have to take some other way." Papa looked around. "It looks like our only choice is across these fallen rocks. That cave there might be a dead end. What do you think, Mama?" Mama nodded. "I think you're all big enough now to handle a few fallen rocks, and besides, look at the waterfall right on the other side of them. That's the one." Papa set off across the rocks with Libby and Buck close behind him. Arlo went next. But as Momma started up the path, she tripped, and the basket of berries went flying, and the berries rolled into that nearby cave. "No!" Arlo shouted. He had gone all that way, and he was not going to miss eating his birthday berries. He turned around and ran straight into that cave. "What happened to Arlo?" Libby asked. "He just turned around and ran into that cave," Mama explained. Buck looked at the dark cave and said, "Arlo went in there? No way!" Arlo emerged from the cave. In his mouth was the basket, and it was full of berries. He gently set it down. "Hey, guess what?" Arlo called out. "The cave isn't a dead end, and it leads right to the waterfall." "I can't believe you went in there alone," Buck said. "Weren't you scared?" Libby added. Arlo gestured to the basket. "Well, Mama picked these berries and carried them all this way. Now, come on, we've got a waterfall to see." Arlo picked up the basket again and turned around to walk back through the tunnel. His family followed. Papa smiled at Mama. "It looks like our boy is growing up." "That he is," Mama said, taking the berries from Arlo and setting them beside the waterfall. "Now, I think it's time for the birthday picnic. And the first berries go to Arlo for saving the day." "Ah," Arlo said as he happily munched on his berries and looked at the waterfall. "I guess some things are worth waiting for after all." The end.